Do you think they'll be able to do it? And would you lay 6.5 points with them in a spot where playoffs right around the corner? They can almost taste it. They just need to win.
Hmm. Will they be able to do it? I'm not sure. I mean, they fared well against the run last week against the Jets, where the Jets had 17 carries, 75 yards, average 4.4 yards per carry. So can they slow down Cam Akers? This is going to be necessary because I think you want to put the weight of the world on Baker Mayfield and make him have to make some tough decisions in the pass game and hopefully take advantage with your secondary, who's been one of the better spots of your defense for the entirety of the season. But I think for me, I just want to flip it over to the Seattle Seahawks rushing attack. It came to life finally again against the New York Jets, and they need to get more of that against the Rams. Like if you look at it,
Yeah.
Austin Eckler, he's an amazing back, but most of the damage that he does is through the air. So for Austin Eckler to have 10 carries, 122 rush yards, and 2 touchdowns, averaging 12 yards per carry against that Rams front, that tells me something. Like that's what Seattle's going to try to attack. They want to attack them with K9 and just lean heavy on that and just kind of wear the Rams down that way. So this may not be a high scoring affair. I know we got 50 points in that first outing. I would expect this one to be a little bit lower scoring, like Seattle playing to their strengths. They're going to be playing at home, try to get K9 involved early and often. If you can play with the lead, just try to run out the clock and come away with the win, and then hopefully the Packers do your dirty work.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Packers lose. Or who needs to win? The Packers need to lose, right?
The
So you need
Packers need to
Detroit
lose,
to you
and
need
the Seahawks need to win.
the Packers
Yes.
need to lose, right? So you need Detroit to win. And so I think for them just handling their biz is going to lean on their strengths. Actually, Geno Smith played a really good game last week, spread the ball around a lot, got some good touchdowns. But I think the focus of the Seattle Seahawks is going to be to run the game. And if they can get that accomplished, they should be able to win this one.
Yeah, they're going to be motivated. They're going to be hungry going up against a shell of the LA Rams team that we saw last season at this point. Jared, who do you think comes out on top?
Yeah, this is another one of those games where we can directly quantify what the sports books are, putting at motivation. It's about 3.5 points. Line open 4, immediately bet up to 6.5 on Sunday. So clearly, about a field goal here is where the motivation quantifier comes in, because let's be honest, these teams just played 4 weeks ago in LA, and the Seahawks were a 6.5 point favorite in that game with John Walford under center. Now it's Baker Mayfield. I would say Baker's an upgrade from Walford, but how much of an upgrade? So my guess is the line's about fair here. I think if I had to pick it, I would take the points, and that's just because Seattle, hasn't fared well as a favorite this big all year. They're 1-3 against the spread. And again, the biggest one being that Rams game a few weeks ago where they almost lost outright. They needed a Geno Smith comeback in that game on the final drive to win that one. So they haven't fared. And the last time they were a home favorite was against Carolina, and they got run all over, and they lost the game by a touchdown, and Carolina scored 30 points in that game. So again, at this point in the year, because the teams that have everything to play for are kind of the middle tier teams fighting for that postseason spot, and they're facing a lot of bottom feeders, they're being upgraded on the ratings because of the motivation. But it's really hard to quantify motivation. And do not tell Bobby Wagner this game means nothing. I mean, get lost with that narrative. This dude would give up a limb to beat the Seahawks in this game. We saw it a few weeks ago against the when these two teams faced each other. I mean, it was a heated game. It had a lot of starch to it. So I think this game's going to be hot. I think Baker, from everything we've seen, it's been good performance, bad performance. So he starts off great game against the Raiders. They come back, they win. Then they go to Green Bay and they get beat pretty handily. Then they come back at home, they face the Broncos, and Denver falls off a cliff and they win by 30. Then they go to the Chargers in a home game for both teams, and they get blown out. So we're on all sides of the coin here. So win-loss, coming off of a blowout. So that would mean the roller coaster is going up the hill now. I would say this would be a positive Rams performance. And I just think 7 is, if you're getting a full touchdown here, I think that's going to be the spot where you see a lot of Rams money step into this market. And listen, you got the Chargers last week who are playing some of their best ball of the season. Massive drop-off this week for the Rams offense going up against a Seattle defense that just I don't see them putting together another performance like they did against the Jets. I mean, they played a perfect game defensively against the Jets, and I think the Rams are they're gonna have some success here. So I would say at a touchdown, I would be running to the window to grab 7 with the Rams. At 6.5, it's
Absolutely.
mean to the Rams.